From MTN Sports, this is Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
We're halfway through the season. The Bobcats are sitting at 6-0 and number 3 in the nation as they welcome a top 10 Idaho Vandals team to Bobcat Stadium this weekend. I'm Keaton Galogly alongside Grace Lawrence. We've got head coach Brent and senior cornerback Simeon Woodard joining us in a bit. All right, Grace, we know a lot about this team now that they've played 6 games, and they have a lot of pieces that you could point to and say this is what you need if you want to win a championship this year.
Completely agree, and one of those pieces is veteran leaders. I mean, there's 23 seniors on this team, and it all starts with Tommy Malott. You know, he is at the forefront of that senior group, bringing his veteran leadership into the offense. That also translates into the defense as well.
Now, we did see him hit a couple of downfield passes this week to Aiden Garrigan and Ty McCullough, but how much will he be running this weekend against Idaho? Yeah,
well, you know, they talked about intentionally keeping him to under 25 carries in the non-conference. We've also seen him use his legs a bit more since conference play has started. I think the reins are fully unleashed when it comes to a top 10 matchup against Idaho.
Well, we'll see what they want to do against this Vandal squad, which has a very stout defense. We're talking to head coach Brent coming up after this on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
I'm Keaton Galogly, back with head coach Brent Vegan as the Bobcats have reached week 7 with a top 10 Idaho team coming to Bobcat Stadium. All right, coach, here we are. We're halfway through. How are you feeling about things?
Yeah, halfway through 6-0, obviously pleased with the record, but I think more so just our continual improvements. I think that's what you really got to look at. Where we're at now as we are in October versus where we were in August, I think significant growth, and that's a lot of individuals taking the experience they've had week in, week out, and you know, I think it's an older group of players certainly at the same time that have really played to a high standard.
It does kind of feel like this team, you know, it's got lofty goals and it's got a lot of the pieces it needs in order to go deep through December and into January. As you do look at things, I mean, what are some of the new pieces or other pieces you need, or is it just more refining at this point as we get into the second half?
Well, I think it's continuing to take on each challenge that's in front of us. You know, and I think the way our schedule lays out, there's going to be some real challenges in front of us, starting, you know, this week against Idaho. And you know, it's again older guys continuing to be able to grow their game, so to speak, and it's you know, it's several younger guys, second and third year guys that are in a different position than they've ever been, and you know, I think they've made progress, but there's still progress to make, and it's you know, our team is a real blend of just that on both sides of the football. Obviously, in special teams, we're counting on a lot of younger guys, so continue to push them along, and you know, the game hopefully plays out where we're giving great effort. We got guys in the right places, and they're really playing for one another.
Well, some of the players you mentioned that are in some new spots, one of them being Hunter Charbonneau from Fairview, Montana. You know, he's coming in and helping to fill in the void that Blake Schmidt left with the injury. But Charbonneau, another 8-man guy over on the eastern side of Montana. How's he coming along?
Yeah, last week would have been his first real significant time. Hunter's a guy that missed a lot of fall camp last year in his first year, had a good spring, and I think we saw some things then. And you know, this action will be very telling. Yeah, he's a very hard worker. He's got talent. He's been able to grow physically in his time here, and you know, the lights are shining now, so we really need him to step up.
Yeah, always excited to see some of those Class C guys get some powerful run. Now, one of the guys coming up from Texas that we're going to talk to in just a bit is Simeon Woodard, one of the rare true seniors in his 4th year right now. Tell us a little bit about his leadership and his impact this year.
Well, you know, when I got here, he was a true freshman our first fall and played a significant role that first fall, and he kind of kept his mouth shut, went about his business, and each year, you know, he's continued to play a key role on our defense, you know, and this year in particular, as a senior, you can really, you know, see that leadership side of him grow. You know, he's been a great example. I think how he's went about things over his first 3 years, and now it's not only being an example, but also being able to be vocal and really pleased, you know, with the season that he's had to this point, and we'll obviously need him to be big as it goes along.
Yeah, the whole secondary will need to be big, and I know the secondary on the defensive side is a spot that's been a little bit injury bug bitten so far. Caden Dowler down for the week, but Drew Polidor coming back, which I imagine he and really a lot of the guys are excited for him to come back. I mean, he's a guy who brings a lot of energy into that secondary.
Yeah, Drew, when he was playing last fall, played really well, and I think when he went down, or before he went down in the spring, I think he had taken his game to another level as far as just recognition and consistency. And unfortunately, he was down for some time, but he's really been back at it now for 2-3 weeks, getting back in playing shape really, and getting the pictures, being able to get his eyes right when you're back there in the the free safety position, you got to make sure what you see is correct. And excited to get him back. Obviously, the timing of Caden going down and Drew coming back, I think works out. It's not how we wanted it to go, but excited for Drew to be back, and I definitely think his ability, his playmaking, we need to show up.
Well, we're wishing the best for Caden. Of course, his twin brother Taco had a big game this weekend, the first 100-yard receiving game since early last year when Jacob Trimble did it. But he caught a heck of a pass. I didn't know Ty McCullough was a lefty, the wide receiver on that sweep. That was a special play, and it was a little wobbly there, but he was under pressure.
Yeah, we got a couple of those hidden lefties, and Ty, obviously, he's the one that won out. He won that job. We've been handing the ball off to Ty quite a bit, and he's really done a good job getting on the perimeter in the run game. So it's definitely something, handing the ball off to him that the defense has to honor, and obviously we were able to get that effect on that play, and Taco snuck behind him, and Ty delivered enough of a strike.
Now for Taco, again, he had a punt return touchdown called back on an unsportsmanlike penalty. He had the fumble in the game, but then also 2 plays later went 70-plus yards for the longest completion of Tommy's career for a touchdown. That really felt like it was the works for Taco this weekend.
Yeah, and I think what we've known for a long, long time is we get the ball in his hands in space. He's very dangerous, and it's showing up quite a bit on the punt return side of things throughout the season. We got him loose on that screen. That's the first screen we've thrown him, but certainly got him loose there. So he's a real weapon in a lot of different ways. He's the type of guy that is accumulating the all-purpose yards more than anybody on our team, and what he's been able to do in flipping the field on special teams has been significant. But he'd be the first to say, those 10 other guys out there are working real hard, and that's to get him in space, that's what it takes. And we need to continue to find ways to get him the ball. So
that was a long touchdown catch and run for Taco, but for Tommy Mellott, you talked about some of the downfield passing game you wanted to see this week. Aiden Garrigan, a big catch, and Ty McCullough, a long touchdown pass with a ball long in the air. Is that what you were looking for downfield?
Yeah, just the ball that doesn't, gets behind the defense, I guess, first and foremost, and that's usually a 40, 50-yard pass of some sort, whether it's a go route like Ty's was or a post route like Aiden was. We just hadn't connected on those, but there's going to be points in time when we can get behind the defense, and when that happens, we got to make that hurt. And in both those cases, we connected, and it certainly flipped the field, and there were huge plays. Ty scored on his, and we scored the next play after Aiden's.
All right, now looking ahead to this Idaho game, they're a tough defense, going to be tough to get behind them. But as you look back to last year, it was a 3-point loss, tight game. How much can you take from that game? How similar are they, and what are you looking for that you can bring from them to them?
Yeah, while they've had some turnover personnel-wise, they're very much the same as far as what they want to do schematically. I think where they lean on the offensive side is a little bit different. The quarterback thing has happened for them where they've played 3 guys. So unlike McCoy, they're not probably asking their quarterbacks to do exactly the same thing, but they've had a passing game that's really gotten chunks of yards at a time. 2 running backs that are really running the ball effectively. So, and I think an offensive line that's continued to grow. On defense, that defensive line has continued to grow. And while they had some replacements on the back end, structurally they're very much the same. And looking back at last year's game, they controlled the first half. We couldn't move it on offense, and we couldn't get them off the field on defense. So obviously that's a telltale. If we can, maintain drives on offense and we can get them off the field on defense, we have a chance to flip the script. But it's going to be a challenge. They're a really good team. Like I said, they're better on both sides of the football up front. So it'll be a battle on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and it's one that we have to win out on.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. Late kick, 8:15, 8:20. Are you taking an afternoon nap? What are you doing during the day?
No, you just try to fill time. We'll have some recruits on campus and stuff. You don't love the 8:15 kicks, but certainly love the opportunity to be on ESPN2. And I hope our fans enjoy a beautiful night in Bozeman.
It's going to be great. Weather should be good. It's going to be another memorable night over at Bobcat Stadium. All right, we're going to take a break, and in just a bit, we'll talk to Simeon Woodard on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Back in the Bobcat Insider, Keaton Galogly alongside Grace Lawrence as we get set for number 7 Idaho coming to town this weekend. And Grace, this is a Vandal team that is coming in at 4-2, 1-1 to the Big Sky, but their only losses are to Oregon and at nationally ranked UC Davis. This is a team that is locked and loaded despite some key injuries.
I remember talking to Danny Louis-Lakepa last year when I sat down with him and former linebacker Nolan Askelson, and they said this is the meat of our season. This is what we wait for, and this is where we prove ourselves, and that's the exact opportunity they're going to have once again this year to avenge what last season was.
And they'll have a couple of pieces back this week, of course, with Drew Polidor coming back in the safety position. Scott Trey Humphrey and Danny Louis-Lakepa were both out in that last game, and those are two guys that can plug some of the key holes when it comes to time of possession and getting off the field on third down.
Yeah, well, I think the defense played something like 25 minutes that first half. I mean, they just were totally gassed by the end of that game because they were on the field so long.
And it's going to be fun to see how the secondary performs against two different quarterbacks for Idaho.
Yeah, and you talk about Drew coming back. He's a Texas guy along with Simeon Woodard. Simeon claims Texas the best high school football in the country. Hear more from him coming up after this.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence here, joined by Simeon Woodard. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you guys are 6-0, halfway through the season. How do you evaluate the season so far?
I think we kind of think that we've done what we were supposed to do so far. We kind of preached going 1-0 with everything, games, practice, weight room, everything's just 1-0. So, we feel like, obviously the job's not done yet, but we're on the right track if we just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, talking about the secondary, you guys have come up very big, especially, think about New Mexico, you think about Idaho State and their prolific passing offense that you guys did a really good job limiting. Is there any game or moment so far you think that really highlights your secondary?
Definitely Rylan Ort's interception versus Idaho State. That was crazy because that was a concept we were kind of repping all week, seeing on film, getting that same look in practice, and just to go out there and just completely execute it, and him get an interception, and then throughout the course of that game, still more DBs make plays as well. That was just a good point for us and good like evaluation for us to look at and say, okay, we're doing the right stuff so far.
Yeah, Rylan talked about wanting more production out of the secondary when it came after the Mercyhurst game, and then since then, how do you see kind of that production come about? Yeah,
I think it starts in practice. So we're doing turnover drills. We're preaching, punching the ball out, intercepting the ball. So obviously it starts in practice, and then if we can do that right, then in the games, the goal is for it to show up.
Yeah, you're one of those leaders there in the secondary, and on the defense, you're also one of the rare 4-year seniors. So yeah. How do you describe your leadership style?
I'm not the most talkative guy, I don't think so, but over the course of kind of this off season, my goal has been to be a little bit more vocal. I've always been a guy that leads by example, kind of just does the right thing, talks to everybody on the team, but this year my goal was to just talk a little bit more, along with leading by example. So, I'm still working on that. So hopefully I can keep getting better at that, and we'll keep showing the younger guys and anybody looking up to me that hopefully what I'm doing is the right thing.
Yeah. And you came here, 4 years ago, 5 years ago from San Antonio, Texas.
Correct.
I went to school in Texas, so I know how real the high school football scene is there. Can you describe it and anything you still take from then that you use now?
Yeah. First of all, Texas high school is the best high school in the country, for sure. Just to clear the air. But yeah, I think just, overall, the way Texas high school runs its football programs, it's, I'm not going to say it's like Division I college, but as far as like the competition, coaching style, how serious people take it, it was kind of an easier transition from high school to college, just because, in high school we were doing, we were working out twice a day, afternoon practice, morning practice. So I think just the way Texas high school football goes about, their business, it definitely sets a lot of players up for, their success in college.
Yeah, and there's a good group of you Texans on this Montana State football team. How much pride do you guys take in representing Texas, and do you guys got a little club going or anything?
No, we should though. But yeah, anybody from Texas, we all definitely stick together. We know that we kind of come from the same background as far as one, being the heat is crazy down there. Two, like I said, just the competition and playing style in Texas. So we kind of all have that that bond, that shared experience. So making us a little bit closer. So whenever somebody's down, pick them up. Whenever there's a topic about who's the best, who has the best high school football in the country, we all come together like, yeah, it's Texas for sure.
Yeah, well, it's going to be another night game this Saturday, but not too cold yet. This weather's been pretty warm so far, but a big game, a top 10 matchup. What's the team's mindset like going into this one against Idaho?
Yeah, so this is one that we lost last year, which kind of definitely still hurts us. We didn't forget about it at all. Obviously, Coach Vegan talks about just being consistent with everything we do. So, whether we're playing, a non-conference game or, one of the better teams in the conference, our goal is just to approach every week the same exact way with film, with practice, with our weights, just our business in general. So this weekend, we definitely know, what we have on our hands. This is a tough opponent that we're about to face. So, obviously keeping that consistent factor a main piece, but also knowing, what happened last year and just doing maybe a little bit more extra that we wouldn't do in the past few weeks just to make sure we can, finish this one out.
Yeah, defensively, a bit of a similar challenge in prepping as last week with Northern Colorado, where there's multiple quarterbacks that you've seen probably in film from Idaho this season. How do you kind of prepare for, two, three different guys?
Yeah, I think, obviously just watching the film is the main part, seeing what each guy can do, and then kind of besides that, just trusting what we can do regardless. Coach Daly, our defensive coordinator, we have a lot of trust in him. So, he puts 11 guys out on the field and calls a certain play, no matter what quarterback is on the field or no matter what receiver's on the field. We feel like it's our job to, execute that play that he called. So.
Yeah, you mentioned, you're part of a 23-member senior class. What has this last ride meant as your 6 games done, 6 guaranteed at least left?
Yeah, I think it's been great so far. Starting from, honestly, the off season, we kind of knew that we were, senior deep during our workouts. We got a lot of guys, a lot of leaders that are in position to step up. But throughout the course of the season, I think, obviously we had a great start with New Mexico, with a great game. And, we kept it rolling, and, now we definitely feel some momentum, and, I feel like the team is definitely, getting a little bit closer and closer as, each practice, each game that we go through and experience together. So, from off season to now, I think that we're just so much more tighter, and I hope that it continues to, go that way as the weeks go by.
Yeah, before I let you go, last week we had Junior Alexander on the show. He said he gave you the award for most stylish. What do you think of that, and how much pride do you take in your style?
Yeah, I appreciate. Shout out Junior. I appreciate that. But yeah, I kind of just like looking nice. Like wherever I go, I want to look presentable. So have some nice stuff, nice clothes, stuff like that. But I don't want to be too flashy. But I just like looking nice, honestly.
Well, he says the better you look, the better you play, the better you feel.
Yes. That's 100% correct. In the locker room, actually, before games, we might ask each other, hey, should I wear this? Should I wear, what do you think?
Okay.
Just stuff like that, asking, a few guys on the team, want to look good, of course. So, are these cleats cool? Should I go arm sleeves? Should I go bends? Stuff like that. We all definitely take part in, our looks on the field. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me. Definitely. I'm looking forward to the game day fit this Saturday. I have to look out for it.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome, yeah.
Thanks,
alrighty,
guys.
and stay tuned because Keaton and I will be previewing the matchup against Idaho coming up after this.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence here with Keaton Galogli and Keaton. And talking with Simeon, what really stood out to me is, he talked about it, Ryland talked about it a couple weeks ago, wanting more production in that secondary. They put pen to paper, and they've created those turnovers since conference play has started.
And it sounds like such an abstract skill, right? Trying to force more turnovers, but it is something we've seen now. They're trying to punch the football out. They had 2 fumble recoveries last week, now 2 interceptions each of the last 2 weeks, 1 from a safety, 1 from a linebacker. And when you look at this Idaho team, which is not an explosive offense, although they can run the football, if you can steal a possession or 2 from them, that's going to make a major difference this weekend.
And this Montana State defense has been game planning for multiple quarterbacks since the conference play has started. You think about 2 weapons Idaho State had. They've played 5 with Northern Colorado, and now, they're preparing for 2 to 3 against Idaho.
All right, and we'll see what those guys can do, but we do know about Idaho is that they can run the football, and this defense is really, really strong, led by a Helena native in Keyshawn James Newby down on the defensive line. All right, well, we'll see how it all plays out coming up this weekend with an 8:20 p.m. kickoff at Bobcat Stadium. For Grace Lawrence, I'm Keaton Galogli. We'll talk again next week.